Guten Morgen, peoples. The local time is 6:08. We're in early because I needs all my concentration to do these. I want to try and get these done before everyone else arrives in the workshop. So these are the AKG K712 Pro, and we're going to be converting them to take a balanced input, which is going to be a tricky job. These again, they use glue and things. These are not designed for modding. These are not designed to be pulled apart, and it's not something that we would usually do. But I'm trying to shoot some DIY videos, so hopefully this will help people. But obviously, if you've got a pair that you want converting, don't ask me. I'm not doing it. No, it's not. Yeah, it's just not something that we're probably going to do regularly. So let's have a look. Inside was nice packaging. Got a bit of Velcro on there. Right, while we're in there, we'll have a quick look at how they're built. So very nice velour bag. Stickers. We always like stickers. Warranty. Right, they're getting. Oh, look at that perfection. They're getting some marks here for fancy packaging and nice accessories. I'm one of those people who are like, I don't want your fancy packaging and accessories. I want fancier headphones or cheaper headphones. But it's nice when you open the box and there's a nice case and stuff. And it probably only costs a couple of quid extra to include that. That's interesting. That looks like there's a little cutout in the front here where they probably would have put some kind of card that you slide out, but they've changed their minds on that one. Okay, so here are the actual headphones. And right, so let's have a look at what we're doing. So, as standard, these have a mini XLR, but it's a 3-pin. It's a 3-pin mini XLR, and for balance, you need 4 connections. So we're hoping to swap that socket for a 4-pin socket. From what I remember, these are kind of, I think they're glued in, or maybe even might even be molded on. So the sockets don't come out easily. Give me a moment, let me pull up a chair and we'll get into this. Right. Okay, let's start. The pads twist off, so we're going to go lefty-loosey, and they come off. So, unlike the Sennheiser and Beyerdynamic pads, these have got like a twist lock mechanism, which makes changing the pads easier, but it does make the pad a more complex design, because you've got to have this plastic plate in here, which is going to reduce the number of pads that you can fit on there. You've got to get the right ones, or you've got to kind of fudge something else to fit on there. And it will probably increase the cost of the pads, so if you've got to get replacement pads, they're probably a little bit more expensive. I haven't looked. So inside, underneath the pad, as you can see, we've got this piece of foam here, and that will be to do with tuning. It'll probably be absorbing a certain frequency which they felt there was too much of, or possibly stopping some kind of sound spilling over here or bouncing off the edges and causing some kind of interference pattern. So that'll be to do with tuning the little bit of foam on there. Take that off. Okie pokey. Ooh. I've not actually tackled these before, but I'm assuming I can figure it out as I go along. But yeah, the actual driver looks very nice. It's made of a nice material. It's got a texture over it, a bit like the Beyerdynamic ones do. It looks like it's made of the same soft squidgy material. So similar kind of design to some of the Beyerdynamic drivers. These are made in Slovakia. Okay, so let's see if we can get into these. Now then, I've done some other AKGs, and to get into them, this grill bit here needed to be lefty-looseyed as well. So we're going to try and jam some stuff in there and see if I can turn it around. I just need to find an appropriate tool. Oh, it's annoying that the ear cups don't swivel as well. You can't put them down nicely on the desk and work on them. Right, so I've got some tweezers here, which might be good. Pointy tweezers. No, they're not pointy enough. Alright, just gonna hook this over the side of the desk here. I hope you can still see it, just so I've got a flattish surface. I've got two pointy sticks because I'm trying not to scratch up the grill. Let's get it on the edge for maximum torque. And then see if we can... Hey! Do you see that? It just moved. Come on. Right, anyway, I think that's loose now. Let's see if it'll come off. There we go. So that's your piece there. So again, this one's plastic, so it probably wouldn't have mattered if I'd scratched it. But hey, there we go. So it's always best not to scratch stuff. There's the grill off there. Let's pop that down. Okay, so now we're into the business end. Got some screws, which are a bit chowdered. It looks like they've been over tightened or something. So we have to be very careful when we're removing them that we don't completely round them off. Try and find the appropriate size. Is that a good fit? Yeah, these screws are quite badly rounded off that are in here, and these are fresh from the, just fresh from the factory. Alright, so that's that one. That's another one. I'm doing this with incredible confidence, but I can't for the life of me remember exactly how these. I remembered there was a lot of lefty looseying, but now I don't know. I don't know what we do next. Give up your secrets. Remove some screws. That's normally a good start. What is that going to come off? What's really annoying is I shot a video of me doing this a few years ago, and I might have to go and rewatch that because I cannot remember how to get into these. There we go. We're in. It's just clipped. That's okay. It's better to be careful, Take it easy. Right, so let's get a little pry tool in there and see if we can get this up. Okay, we're nearly there. Gently does it. Okay, so now we are in like Flynn. So if you want to have a look inside there. So there you got the 3 wires going to the existing socket. Interesting design feature on these. The connection to the driver on the other side actually goes through the spring metal headband. So there's no wires in there. It's actually soldered directly to the spring steel there. And it'll be like that on the other side, which is really interesting. It's an interesting way of doing it. So we're just going to have to kind of rewire that a little bit. From what I remember, you can't quite see it here, but there's pins going down from these wires to the drivers underneath. And I, in the past, have unsoldered the wires from these pins. But the problem is if you get those too hot, those pins unsolder themselves from the driver. And you're going to have a bad time. So this time what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave those wires attached and then just kind of reconfigure it a bit to be balanced. But I'm going to reuse the original wires wherever I can, just because it'll save any issues. So what we're going to do, I'm going to just warm up the soldering iron while we have a look at this. So far not too bad. We've had to remove 2 screws, unscrew a couple of things. I don't think we actually need to dismantle these any further to do this mod. Did probably need to remove the pads, but pads are quite easy to damage, so it's always worth just whipping those off. So what we're going to do is we're going to unsolder this. Then I'm going to just have a look. Yeah, we're going to unsolder this and then figure out how the socket is held in. I suspect we might need to heat up the area a little bit to loosen any glue that's in there. That's what I did before. Although this does look slightly different to the ones I did before. They might have changed the design slightly. These might unscrew. I don't know. We'll have a look. But yeah, first thing to do will be to unsolder it, and then I can have a closer look and see what's inside. So soldering iron is not quite hot enough. I'm just going to get a bit of fresh solder on the tip of the soldering iron. helps on the solder stuff. I don't know if you can hear the rain. It's raining quite heavily, and this workshop is in the attic, so you can really hear the rain kind of beating down on the roof windows and stuff. I don't know if the mic's picking that up, but if it is, I can't help it. It's just background noise. Enjoy it. People listen to rainy sounds, you know, makes them nice and sleepy. Might be a good bedtime video. Right, okay, so now we have that disconnected. So the left wire, we've got yellow and we've got a white one. And then the right wire, we've got red and a white one. So what if I just disconnect this wire, then we've got 4 separate wires ready to go into our 4-pin socket. Also, obviously, if you were doing this as a DIY thing, you don't want to mess around with adding extra wires. So I suppose reusing the original wires is probably a good idea. I'm just going to remove that. Probably both wires are going to come off with it, but we will see. There we go. Is that still attached? That's still attached. Right, so there we go. So now we have 4 wires ready for our 4-pin socket. How does this go back together? Yeah, they're all going to reach, so that's good. So we won't need to add any extra wires. Now then, just as I always like to do, I'm going to pop the screws back in the holes where I found them, so that I don't forget and I don't lose them. Alright, so now, unusually, for one of these mods, these headphones are going to go away. Then we've got the bit that we need. We need that little plastic cover. Now then, what's changed, probably since I last did this, is now now I'm all a fully qualified CAD technician. I could probably just whip that up and 3D printer replacement part. But we've only got an FDM printer. We've only got an FDM printer here, so the finish won't be quite as nice. So we're going to try and reuse this plastic part. But to be honest, if you're doing this at home and you have a 3D printer, you might want to try 3D printing it. Right, so let's have a look and see how this is held in. No, that's not the case. Oh, wrong end. Is there any movement? There is no movement, so we're probably dealing with. I'm pretty certain these use threaded jacks, threaded sockets, but they are not screwed in, or if they are screwed in, they're screwed and glued. So I'm gonna heat that up, and I'm hoping that whatever glue they've used can be softened. So that's been warming up now. What I've done is so I've placed it face down on a hot plate here, just to warm up. I have done it with a soldering iron before, from what I remember. So I've done a few of these, but now we've got a slightly fancier workshop with more toys. So the actual socket looks like this. So you've got a metal body with a plastic insert with the pins in, and it's either glued in there or the plastic is molded over the threads. So either way, heating this metal part up will either soften the plastic so that you can release it, or soften the glue. See if this is gonna. This is now, the socket's now warmish. Is that gonna move at all? No. No, it is not. Alrighty then. Okay, so we have managed to get it out. It turns out, yeah, this plastic is over molded onto that, so you can't unscrew it, because you see you've got a flat area at the top of the socket, so where the over molding is, you end up with a flat bit in there and it won't rotate. And so to pull it out, what I did was I heated this up until I got the plastic to its glass transition point, which is around, on this it was around 200, so it started to soften just before it melted and then pulled it out. Now then, as you can see, you can just about see where the socket was. The plastic has lost its texture a little bit there. It's just because it started to soften, but it's pretty much the only way of getting it out. If I was to do this again, like I'm being super fussy because you can barely see it unless you look, what you might want to do is put a bit of tissue around that and soak it in water so that the outside is cooled so you don't lose the texture, and then the inside you can heat up, but I don't know whether that would work. I've not tried it. I don't know whether it would work. Probably, I don't know, because there's a lot of AKGs on the market. You know, there's a lot of people with them out there, and we get asked a lot to convert them to balanced, and we normally say no, because of this. It's a bit, you know, it's a bit risky. But we may design, because we only need one part. We only need this part. So potentially, if there's a big enough market, we could get something like this made with a 4-pin socket in it. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that might be an option. So maybe making a replacement part that we can then sell as a DIY kit, or we can install for people. But yeah, as it is, it's not necessarily something I want to do. It's not. Yeah, these aren't designed to come apart, these two pieces. So now we need to fit the 4-pin, which should, again, I might need to warm it up and jam it in. Oh no, is it going to go? Yeah, so I'm probably going to need to warm this up and jam it. Actually, I might dremel out that a little bit, dremel out the thread thingies in there, and then just use some. Oh no, is it going to go in? Yeah, I reckon with a little bit of force, and then I'll use a bit of hot glue just to hold it all in. The other issue we're going to have is that once this is in, hold on, let's do this. Let's just make that fit properly. Let's give this a bit. Is that going to fit? There we go. So now we have that fit. Okay, so that is probably one of the most difficult parts, changing the socket. Now then, on my previous attempt at doing this, as I said, I unsoldered all the wires from the driver, which might be the right way of doing it, I don't know, because as you can see, there's not a lot of clearance in there. It's going to be difficult to solder wires in. It's going to be much easier to solder the wires onto the socket first, then push the socket through and solder the wires to everything else. But I will give it a go like this, and we will see what happens. Is that going to be the best way of doing it? Let me just try another idea. Just get that socket out. Because the other way would be to push all these wires through that hole and then solder it, which might be easier. Can I length on those to make it kind of a... Oh, might be alright. Might be alright. Right, so now we have our 4 wires. Which is which? Which is which? Okay, pin 1 attached. Now I think overall, if everything went according to plan, this would take about an hour. Problem is, I haven't yet found the right technique for doing this perfectly every time. And also, it's not fun. I think that's an important thing. If you're doing a job for someone else, I think you've either got to charge a lot of money or it's got to be fun. I don't think we can charge a huge amount for this because they're not particularly expensive headphones, and it's not fun. So it's probably not something we're gonna do. But if we do get a plastic replacement part made, that will make it make more sense. We can design it so that it's easy to mod. You know, even I suppose we could just do like halfway house. We could do a 3D printed part. especially if we get it sintered or something like that, SLS printed, that might be alright. Alright, okay, so now we have 4 wires attached to the socket. I'm going to just inspect the solder joints because it's not in ideal conditions where I've been soldering. Yeah, so that looks okay, okay-ish. Now we need to maneuver this back in, and yeah, because it's got the cutout, it'll only go in one way. Just make sure everything's got appropriate clearance. It looks like it has. I'll stick a little tag of super hot glue and then push it in place. So I've got the hot glue gun super hot so that the glue is very fluid. It'll stay hot. Yeah, so that's in. Just clear off some excess. Okay, so woo, that was tough. Right, so here we go. So we've used the original wires. You know, this is what, £5 in parts is what we've done. £5 in parts and an hour of our time. So, you know, definitely a good DIY job. If you love these and you're into DIY, you've got a soldering iron, you can do this. I think that's the only tool I've really, a soldering iron, maybe a pair of pliers, something like that. Screwdriver, obviously. Yeah, so you don't need anything super fancy because I ended up heating up the socket with the soldering iron. Yeah, you just need bravery, patience, and yeah, mad skills. Alright, that's all back together. Okay. And then reassembling it is hopefully just the reverse. So pop that in. Here you go, this is my top tip. That one, clip it over your desk and then you can get in there. And plastic pry tools, they cost a couple of quid off eBay. Super useful. And if you break one, you know, it's a couple of quid to buy some more. Click. Yeah, so that's that. So that's the K70. What are they? 712s converted to balanced. I'm going to make them a nice matching cable. Obviously, I've got all the other bits to put back on. But yeah, we've got this fox orange, which is kind of the closest that we could get to that. Most of, you know, I'm one of those people that loves bright colours, so most of the oranges that we've got are pretty offensively bright. But that's not too bad. I reckon it's got a bit of black, bit of orange in it, like these, so I think it should match nicely. So we're going to make a nice balanced cable to go with them, and that's it. All right, cheers. Oh yeah. Before I forget, do the likey, subscribey thing. So sad begging for subscribers. But you know, I don't know. It brings me a little bit of joy. I log on the computer, I see there's a couple more people watching. I'm like, oh, there we go. It's like I've got virtual friends. Anyway, no, it's been nice hanging out. You guys take care. And if you've got any questions, stick them in the what's it. Or if you want to see me do anything stupid with headphones, let me know and I might do it.